the framework that I work within is quiet the noise. So all we have to do is figure out which narratives are playing in your brain, identify them, and shut them the hell up. Connect to self, get home to your body, start understanding what these sensations feel like, understand your wounding, get the Finding Peace workbook. It helps. Cultivate self-love and compassion. Accept that you are who you are. Resistance keeps us stuck. Try leaning into exactly who the hell you are for about 5 minutes and see the difference. And then embody the light. Be you. Go be your most authentic self. Your people are looking for you, and they can't find you when you're masking. Go be you. Go be with the people, places, and things that you're actually meant for, because life gets so much better when you're living it on your own terms.
Welcome back to Bold Moves, the podcast where we empower women to be bold, be brave, and be you. I'm your host, Ayu, and today's conversation is deep and incredibly inspiring. It's about childhood trauma. It's about turning pain into purpose and the journey of finding yourself again. This is a reminder that today's episode may be sensitive for some people. It may be triggering for some people, so please take care while you listen. Our guest today is Malisa. She is an author, she is a public speaker, she is also a therapist, and the host of the Emotionally Unavailable podcast. She is just amazing. You are going to love her energy. You are going to love her wisdom. She is sharing her powerful tools to heal. It's just like she's got this toolbox that she will share in this episode, and I'm very excited about it. This episode is about reclaiming your life after trauma, after pain, and choosing yourself. So let's welcome Malisa. Hi, how are you today, Malisa?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm very excited. And thank you for taking the time today to sit with me. I really appreciate that. And I'm just very excited to do this. Let's just get started.
Okay.
So you are a therapist, you are an author, you are a public speaker, but you're also a host for your podcast, which is Emotionally Unavailable. I love the name, by the way. How awesome is that? So as today, we will be talking about trauma and the possibility for healing and finally choosing ourselves as well. But just before we get into deep, right, as a context, just for the audience, can you tell us your story about your experience in trauma in life in the early years?
Yeah. So, I have half siblings, but usually for like context, I was only raised with 2 brothers that were born from my mom and my dad, like in the same household. Um, so I had an older brother who was just 13 months older than me, and then I was born, and then I had a brother 14 months younger than me. So little stair steps. And by the time I was 2 months old, I was hospitalized for neglect, essentially, because they were not taking proper care of me. I think I had a failure to thrive diagnosis, but it got fixed pretty quickly from, the care that I needed. And then my parents did a lot of back and forth of trying to kind of care for us. There was a lot of abuse. They were both addicts, and we did a lot of back and forth between them and my grandma. And then when I was 8, my grandma did permanent guardianship. Well, my grandparents at that time. But then whenever I was like 12, my grandpa divorced my grandma. And so
Also, at this time, you were living with your grandparents, so they're your guardians at this
Yes,
time.
they were our guardians. Then after my grandpa left, we did basically kinship foster care with my grandma. It had been considered that, but it was not done the same way it was when we entered into a private agency, and it was no longer like completely governed through our state agency. So yeah, we did private foster care with her forever, and there was I received a lot of emotional abuse, neglect, physical abuse, sexual abuse
Oh,
all throughout those years, and then, turned 18 and was one of those people who was like, "Yeah, I had a rough childhood, but I don't think it really affected me."
yeah.
Even though it
Th-
absolutely did.
Thank you for sharing part of your story. And I think it may be not easy for you or for some people to hear it, but I think it's brave for you to be able to tell me the story of you. And yeah, I just really appreciate it because I used to work with, like I told you before, I used to work with children with trauma as well, like child protection services in the past. And yeah, and like you said, sometimes people think it didn't really matter, but actually it mattered. Can you tell us, like, when you're 18, you were thinking, yeah, I had a rough childhood. It didn't affect me, but it did. In which way? I'm just curious, in your own perspective. How do
Every
you
way.
think those early experience affected you in life?
Well, I think probably the first way that I could pinpoint in early adulthood that all of the childhood stuff was already starting to, like, show itself was I met my ex-husband, moved in with him within days, and then because I lost my virginity to him, I was like, "Oh, well, we have to get married." So, I was continuing a
Mm,
pattern of pleasing others, like,
yeah.
making all the right decisions for all the wrong reasons, like, just living a life really chained to the idea that I needed to make other people happy or other people proud. Like, I had a lot of remorse and guilt anytime I upset my grandma because flat out, she was a narcissist. She had her own stuff, but she was a narcissist, and she really programmed me to believe that I had an eternal debt of gratitude to her. So I did things to
Oh.
make her happy.
Mm.
And yeah, I was super jealous and insecure in my relationships. But boy, that early one, like starting fights and saying I was going to break up just to get him to beg me not to. Accusing him nonstop of something, like, just always, and so those were the earliest ways that I could really identify, like, I not necessarily that it was from childhood because I had no idea what
Yeah.
caused the maladaptive behavior, but I knew I wasn't behaving normally, I didn't know what to do
You
about it, but I
kind
was
of
like
know.
I just felt stupid, kind of, like, no idea, and I was so full of pride and shame. Looking
Mm.
back, that's probably one of the earliest times I could have asked for help and didn't, you know?
What I hear the most when you about the impact of your early experience was actually people pleasing kind of like behavior. Like you,
Mhm.
you mentioned that you always have to say yeses, and then you in the story with you and your grandma, you kind of like, I have to make her happy. But it's
Yeah,
like you're
yeah.
putting people on the top, and then where were you at the moment? Were you at the
Yeah,
bottom? What's your
I was
priority?
always last, but I was taught that, like, pretty explicitly that, like, that's the only righteous way to live is to I had a lot of religious programming, and so I was taught you had to serve to your own demise, that you as a human have no worth or value. Your worth and value that you can try to accumulate is only done through good works. Like, and even then you can't really earn worth and value. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and oh my god, yeah.
Mhm.
It's just like, and how is it now? The thing that you just said. Do you still believe in that?
Oh, no. No, 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 no.
Mm,
I have
you,
really deconstructed from all of that, but I would say that, like, that's the key is when you realize, "Oh, I was born with all of the worth and value I'm ever gonna have because it's the most, like, you it's just there. It's basically attached to your belly button, if that's the way you wanna view it. Whatever helps you conceptualize the fact that, like, because you exist, you are worthy, you are valuable, and also that cultivating that understanding and love for yourself and compassion for yourself, that's the only
mhm.
truth that there is. out here, and the only real love. Because I was a person who got love confused with dopamine, oxytocin,
Uh-huh.
adrenaline, serotonin,
Yeah.
and of course,
Mhm.
oxytocin is designed to make us feel lovey and cuddly and sweet. But
Yeah.
for me, I was like, oh, we're getting married. I was such a clinger. I was so clingy.
Yeah, and it's just interesting you mentioned the word self loving yourself. I just want to ask you this kind of question about self love. Did you have it before when you were 18?
No.
Like
No,
how
and I didn't
how
even know
important?
that. I would
Mm.
have said, like, yes to that question, and even 2 years ago when I found myself in a really bad mental health crisis, like, I didn't know how much I did not like myself, love myself, know myself. Like, I
Yeah.
really believed I didn't really have very much, like, blind spots, Like, I thought I knew, and I thought I was cultivating love, but I was covered in shame. Like, I had so much noise in my head just kinda telling me where I
Uh-huh.
was failing in every area, and
That noise.
yeah, it was
Mm.
so noisy up there.
Is it sometimes when I heard this kind of story, and in me as well, I've had some stories of mine myself. It's just like when I was growing up, it's just the voices of others. It's just louder than ours, right? So I couldn't
Well,
really
we're taught
find
to tune out our voice because
exactly.
you're not able to lean into your intuition when you're taught to be compliant, and that the only
Mm-hmm.
thing that matters is making other people happy. Well, where's there room for your voice? They want that to be extinguished. That's the whole point.
That's I love the way you say it. I just love that. It's just how did you find the way to love yourself more now?
Um, I mean, if I were to answer that 1,000% honestly, I would say that's really been, uh, only available to me through, like, a spiritual awakening, and I'm not saying that it's not available if
Mm-hmm.
you don't have a spiritual awakening, but for me, that was the big part of the process, and because I do a lot of, moon work, like doing manifesting before new moons or full moons,
Okay.
I was doing an identity audit. And this was like, did an episode, my third episode of my podcast was a solo episode about this because it was so transformative. I was doing an identity audit and I was writing down who I
Uh-huh.
wanted to be. And I had been future self journaling for about a year at that point, trying to
That's
work
amazing.
on being less reactive. And so I had this
Mhm.
idea in my head that I really just wanted to be a very calm, unbothered person, just like chill, Buddha. Like, like I was picturing one of those
Chill
like
Buddha
medicine women's, you know
and
what I mean?
Zen.
Yes,
I
like
know.
be with you, namaste. I
Correct.
really did. I really did. And then as I was doing the so when you write down all the qualities that you want and then you start to A, listen to your limiting beliefs, but also figure out the incongruence. What's missing to get me from who I'm trying to be and where I am right now? And what
Mhm.
I realized was nothing was missing. I was already all of the things I wanted to be. And I had qualities I didn't like about myself, and I thought I had to
Yeah.
extinguish those to, shine on the others, but what I've learned is that the alchemy of all of that is the magic. That's what makes me magic, and I'm really willing to say, like, sometimes I'm really kind and my softest version of me, and I'm gonna give you a hug and wrap you up and
Uh-huh.
envelop you in love and light. And then other times I'm the exact opposite, but at all
Mhm.
times I'm worthy and I'm valuable
True.
and nothing external of me changes that at all. And I can embrace the fact that I'm really imperfect and I am
I love
messy. Like
that.
I do it real messy. My podcast is messy. Like I just I'm really like embracing my authenticity because that is what makes me
Mhm.
magic. And it just occurred to me when I was doing all of that, like, why am I trying so hard to just only be this thing? Why can't I be all these things? Because I
All these
already
things.
am. And
You are
yeah, I just
already.
the more I get to like experience that understanding, I'm so grateful because it e I think it's the same as learning when you get to this certain point of healing, the amount of
Mm,
gratitude you have for how bad it really was, because you could never experience the equal amount of light if you didn't
mm.
have that amount of darkness. So, like, how could I
Yes.
be grateful for what I have now if I didn't have anything to compare it to?
Yeah, thank you for saying that. Thank you for saying that. It's not like, we're embracing the darkness as well, but we kind of like need that to be
Yeah.
able to feel grateful because
Yeah.
at the end of the tunnel there will be light, but there is a darkness behind us. That would kind of
Absolutely.
like shape us in a way to be resilient, to be like like the growth from being in the darkness and then try to find the light. It's not an
Mm.
easy journey, but I think it shapes you as a person. Look at you right now. You have your podcast. You are an author. You have a public speaker. But you shine because there was a darkness behind you before. So now you shine like the star because, the star shines brightest when the night is really dark.
No, I love the way you said that. Yeah, for sure.
Right?
And I just know I wouldn't be who I am without all of that. And I also believe that it was all a part of my journey here, is my part of my purpose. I mean, as a child, I asked for wisdom because I
Mm.
heard the story of King Solomon from the Bible. And I have experienced a lot of things to gain the wisdom. You earn that. You earn your wisdom. And yeah, I think that it's important to, I never want to trigger anyone because I remember what it felt like when people would be like, there's always something to be grateful for. But like I'm a meet you where you are kind of person,
Mhm.
like resistance keeps us stuck. So if you're not grateful, don't pretend to be, that it will come. Just believe that we know
Thank
what we're
you
talking
for
about, you
saying
know?
that. Yes, because sometimes it also depends. Like you said before, I can be the kindest person right now, but also not really. That I'm the same.
Exactly,
Like,
yeah, yeah. Felt, yeah.
right?
Give me a good
It's
case of
the
PMS
attitude
and
of
I'm not
yeah.
kind at all. So,
Oh, but that's the truth. Like, totally the truth. Like, for example, some days I feel really grateful for everything that happens in my life, but another day oh my God. And now I'm learning to find it kind of like, oh, that's life. It's normal to feel that way. And it's not
yes.
like every day it's like, oh, I'm fucking zen. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm swearing. My God, I'm in zen and that kind of
I
thing. But
used to think that's what it would be like 24/7, that like, but I was talking to someone the other day and it finally made sense. Like those people that we picture in our heads that are just all like constantly like that, like a Buddhist monk even, they don't have the external pressures we do. They're in the desert, like they
yeah,
they of course, like that's what they've devoted their life to, is just being in that. Like we're trying to bring zen into everyday real life stuff, like where kids mess up and spouses make you mad
true.
and your friends and you have an argument or work sucks, like we're bringing that light into places that are very real, full of real pressures and stresses. And yeah, I used to really think it was, I judged myself like the first time I had like
Mm,
a bad time after like awakening, I was like, even my husband was, like,
mhm.
really nervous and scared because, it lasted a few days where I was really stressed about something, and then
Yeah.
I was doing what I knew to do, take care of my body, rest,
Mm.
eat nutritious foods and comforting foods, whatever, and so after 3 days, whenever I had a really good cry and a really good nap, and I woke up perfect again. I was like, "Oh, I'm in such a better mood."
Oh my God,
He
you just
was like,
needed a nap and a good
yeah,
nap.
exactly.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh my gosh, I was so scared that you weren't gonna remember how to be happy again." And I was like, "Yeah, I was a little
Oh.
nervous too." I that was the first time, but then I realized like, okay, you're gonna go through stuff. You're still gonna go through stuff. And we're just building up a really extensive toolbox, but we're never
Mhm.
gonna not need the tools. You gotta
Yep.
be able to pull the tools out. And I think
Mhm.
for a little bit, I was resistant to using the tools because I thought I shouldn't have to anymore. No, that's the reason that we've made these tools for ourselves. We've filled this toolbox up so that when we hit those times, we go, okay, what do? We need to gear up. We got to take it
Yep.
on.
Toolbox out.
Yep, exactly. Go, Inspector Gadget. You know what I mean?
And sometimes we think that one tool fits all, but it depends, right? Like, for example, when you feel that way, go meditate. Oh, but sometimes it doesn't work.
Right.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But if it doesn't work, then something wrong with you. And I was like, mm, but not everyone is the
Right,
same. Right.
right. Yeah, meditation's not a thing that calms me because if I'm having an issue, that issue has started with overthinking. I gotta get out of my brain, and meditating doesn't
How
do
do
that for
how do you how do you improve your overthinking? I mean, how do you get rid of that? I know it comes and goes, but what
Yeah.
helps you? Maybe you can
Okay,
share
well, a
some
couple of
tools.
things. So the first thing is what really was the turning point in healing for me was this book called The Finding Peace Workbook. And
Mm.
it's by Troy Love. It's 25 bucks on Amazon here. But he breaks shame down into archetypes. And what I realized is
Oh.
that most of the noise in my brain was those archetypes of shame. So like I'll give you an example. So something
Mhm.
would happen and immediately this one archetype called the judge would come in and be like, "Oh, Melissa, you knew better. Like, what are you doing? That you know not to do da da da." Then the one called the royal, which like has a couple of functions, but the royal would be like, "Yeah, but I mean, if they hadn't done this, this, or this, you wouldn't have done that. So like, it's
Mhm.
their fault, and now
Mhm.
we're mad at them. Let's dismiss their feelings so that we can dismiss the shame in us." Okay, great. Then here comes the judge again, like, "Yeah, but it's not their fault. Now they're fighting."
Mhm.
Okay. Then
Oh my.
I would have, like, the martyr come in, like, "Well, you may as well just give up or do this or do that because it's never gonna get better, so, like, don't you have nobody to help you. The weight of the world is on your shoulders alone to carry." So these would be
Alone.
the voices that I'm hearing in my head. I mean, at some point, I started to think I was schizophrenic because the self-talk, but it
Mhm.
wasn't me, and so I went through this whole process of externalizing those voices so that I could see, that's not your voice. And
Wow.
so that was the biggest help. And once you realize what's actually happening in your brain, it becomes so much easier to shut it off. Our natural tendency is to just overanalyze and intellectualize experiences because our brain wasn't designed to feel. It was designed to keep us alive by
Yes.
noticing patterns and
Mhm.
and sending us information saying,
To survive.
that will kill you. That will kill you. So
Mhm.
what I know is the only time I need to be up here is if I'm actually trying to solve a problem, like a real life thing. Emotions aren't a problem to be solved. Conflict isn't a problem to be solved
Mhm.
in that way. You don't need to sit and ruminate over a conflict. So for me, I just started to realize, what am I avoiding? What do I need to address? And so if I was something I was famous for was driving along fighting with someone in my head, and I would be like, the first time I kind of made that connection with my body, and I call it coming home to myself, was I was driving down the road. I'm learning at this point that I'm not great at identifying when I'm overthinking, but I can do a check in. If my neck, back, and shoulders are really tense and tight, real good indication I'm up here. So I
Oh,
was like, ooh, I am hurting. I'm driving down there. I'm like, oh, I'm overthinking. And I'm getting excited because I'm like, yay, time to practice. And so I was
that's
like,
really
okay, if
good.
I'm in my head, I'm not in my heart. I got to get in my heart. So what am I fighting about? And I was like, okay, I'm hearing what I'm saying to this person. And then I was like, oh, that hit like your rejection wound. You're feeling a little rejected. Okay, great. So I was like, feel it, feel the rejection. And I was like, and I just
Uh-huh.
felt it. I felt inside my body and not in my
You
head for the
sit
first
with that
time.
feeling of rejection. Is that what you're
Yeah,
trying to
yeah, it
say?
was just like,
Mm.
"Oh, I let it hit me straight in the chest, and it hurt for about 30 seconds, and then it was done because I was like, "That's all it was. That's all
That's
it was.
such a good thing to
Name
do.
it, and it loses its power." because I also
Yeah.
understand there's a huge difference between like I'm feeling rejected and putting responsibility on someone else of like you're rejecting me, where that
Mhm.
was that an old version of me. That was an understanding I didn't have. Everything was happening to me. That's a normal thing though. Like, is it healthy? No. And is it
Mhm.
what
Mhm.
we need? No. But at the same time, until you do this work on yourself, you don't understand that that's all we're doing is walking around taking everything personally when nothing has shit to do with you. Like, your
Yeah.
stuff's about you and my stuff's about me, you know?
It's just so interesting. I really like the way you explained all of the things, overthinking and everything, is because when you say name it, call it, and I was like, I remember like a week ago, I was feeling like defeated, like life, like, oh my God, is everything is happening at the same time. And
Yeah.
I feel like no power. I feel powerless. So what I do actually,
Hopeless.
I did
Yeah.
what you just said and it worked. So I feel defeated and I feel it for like, I don't know, 30 seconds, 1 minute, whatever. And I feel better because I sit with there is no resistance to it. Like I'm
Hey.
not trying to fight it. The feeling
Yeah.
of, oh my God, again defeated and I feel I'm lost. And
Mhm.
yes, I'm lost, so what?
Yeah.
Instead of, oh my God, what am I going to do with this? And I just get crazy. Every time I fight it, I got more and more the feeling more defeated. So I was like,
Yeah.
fuck it, last I'm just going to sit with the feeling. Yeah, I'm defeated. I'm just going to have my tea and sit, do nothing and just feel it, really feel it. Like,
Yes.
well, it's wow. Yeah, that's actually such a good exercise, which
It
I, I,
is.
no one taught me that until you said that, and I remembered to my experience last week. And thanks for that.
Yeah, yeah.
What
Well,
exercise
I
that
just
for?
always say that if you're in here, you're not in your heart, you know, and this is where we're meant to experience. And also, until you come home to your body, you don't recognize that you really do feel
Come
physical
home to your
sensations
body.
with each like, I feel betrayal in my stomach, like the roller coaster feeling when you go down
Uh-huh.
a hill,
Uh-huh.
I feel that in my stomach. I feel rejection in my chest. I feel neglect and betrayal in my shoulders because it makes me very tense. Like, I just started
Heavy.
to
Mm.
recognize because I had these really deep neglect wounds because we all do. Like, nobody understands that unless you had a parent who was really good at co-regulating, and spoiler alert, you didn't because nobody did. They didn't even have that
Nobody.
information. So,
Mm-mm.
so that means I'm talking to you, everyone. But like, you know, how many times we were left to sit in our room to try to figure something out, or nobody to
Mhm.
help you figure it out. And so that creates a core belief and a narrative that says, I got the weight of the world on my shoulders and no one's going to
Yeah,
help me carry it. It's all up to me and I got to be a superhuman. So we're
true.
taking all this information and we're filtering it through a filter that doesn't understand the world because we're kids and we
Yeah,
only know what we've been shown,
we
and
were
that
kids.
hasn't been healthy, right? So we have these neglect wounds, and I didn't even realize. I mean, I was really minimalizing other people's experiences, trying to get them to hear my pain. Because what I
Mm.
was really saying is, I'm overwhelmed. Like I don't know what to do. I don't know how to ask for help, and it seems like every time something bad happens, I'm left alone to deal. Like, it is coincidence sometimes when I'm
It
home
is.
alone and I'm the only adult in the house and something goes off. Yes, I can't help that my husband's at work. He can't help that either. But in my world, when it's happening, I'm always alone. That's a trigger. It comes up all the time. And betrayal, if you had parents that didn't follow through with what they said they would do, or they shared your private medical or just private information
Uh-huh.
in general with family, and so many people did that. Like, that was really
Oh,
common in my
yes.
generation for people to be like, "Oh, did you hear that she got an F in art? Yeah, she can't even color." That was a real life conversation in my family.
Yeah, yeah,
These
that's true.
where people, and I had parents who they're addicts, right? So they're seeing
Mm.
me when they see me, and they make these promises because it makes them feel really warm and fuzzy to tell me and
Yeah.
to see my face light up when they go, "We're going to do this." And I go, "Thank you." And then
Wow.
they don't have to see my face when they don't show up. But I had to experience that. So
True.
betrayal. And what I realized
Mhm.
is I was walking around loving everyone else in the way I'm begging to be loved. And then anytime I did something, I'm now creating a social contract full of expectations for everyone around me because I did this for you. And even though it was subconscious and I didn't know this is what I was asking everyone to do, absolutely, I'm walking around like, do you promise you're gonna do that? Do you promise? And like a child, you know? And then
Yeah.
when they break their
Yeah.
promise, oh, ultimate betrayal. And some of that went unspoken. Some of it was just a subconscious
Of
belief that
course.
they were promising, you know? And I broke my own heart over and over and over and over and over. So if you don't understand what betrayal feels like, you don't even recognize that you're feeling it all the time, and you're
Yeah.
still stuck in the understanding of thinking that like, you're betraying me other
Mm.
than I feel betrayed. I just understand my wounding really well now so that when it comes up, I can take accountability for it. No one's trying to hurt me. They're not trying to betray me. They're not
No,
trying to
no.
reject me or abandon me. This is just what's opening up for me whenever something happens because that's my perception of the world. And that's the only thing you're experiencing is what you perceive.
Let's get deeper. Let's talk about the turning point story, right? Like was there any specific moment or realization when enough is enough, when you knew something in your life you've got to change? When was that? And can you tell us the story? Because you must have tons of story, but there must be one story that kind of like, shit, I cannot take this anymore. Something's got to change.
Yeah, I in October of 2023, I knew I
Mm,
had been depressed. I knew things weren't good, but I actually made a plan to end my life. And
mm,
then because I was trying to be nice and I realized my oldest kid's birthday was a couple of weeks away, and I was like, "Oh, I don't wanna do that." So I set a date, and I put it really far away on the calendar, which allowed me to kinda chill for a minute, but I was like, "Well, if I'm gonna be alive, like, I gotta figure this out," because I wasn't happy with anything. I was burnt out in every area. I didn't wanna be a mom. I didn't wanna be a wife. I didn't wanna be alive. I literally just I was holding myself to that perfectionist standard, and I couldn't handle the
yeah.
fact that I wasn't meeting my expectations, and
Mm,
that poor person of me, that version of me, believed that my children would be better off without me because I was not perfect. I didn't know which direction to turn, but because I was like, "Well, I wanna, you know, I want whatever life I've got left to be better than this." I kind of it was a slow process. I kinda just started moving pieces. Like, for at first, I got really creative. I wrote a few, children's books and
yeah.
learned how to use AI to illustrate them and stuff, and I did it all myself, and I published them, and that was fun, and I just got into things that would get me into a real flow state, like, where I couldn't think because my brain was just such an ugly, nasty place to be,
Yeah.
and that was really the beginning. I mean, was just figuring out how that day but I cried all the time. I mean, really, it was not good until about August of last year. Like, it was just slowly putting the pieces together, and I left a job, I started my podcast, I just kinda did whatever I could, and then I heard about that book early
Yeah.
on
So
in my
you
podcast.
thank you so much for sharing that story. Again, your story is just very real and raw, and people need to hear that more because I believe a lot of people were in that position before as well in their life, one, two times in their life. It's just sometimes it's way too hard. Sometimes you just I want to end it, but what else of me that I can give?
Right.
So
'Cause
that's
you
what I
really just
did.
want your pain to end. It's not
Yes,
like
you
the
just want
idea of being
pain
dead
to
sounds
end.
great, but, like, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
you don't wanna do it anymore.
I love the way you say it. You just want the pain to be
Mhm.
gone. So what I heard, you've turned your pain into purpose, right? Through your podcast, through your practice, and you're a therapist as well through your voice. What these kind of things that you do, how it impacts you right now? Is it something that helps you to keep going? the podcast, your practice, the
Yeah.
therapist, is it helping you to keep going? And
Yeah. Well, I have made choice after choice to not do things that don't light me up. Like I really flow in my day. Like what feels good. Like I have a to-do list. I don't believe in trying to attack the biggest or worst thing first if I don't have the energy for it. Like today,
true.
my middle kid just graduated last night. I'm tired today. I was out late, and so I'm not going to do all that much. I scheduled my day knowing that I'm almost 45 and I can't be up late. So I scheduled it light, but I mean, there's always things to do, but like if I feel like it, I'll do it. If I don't, I won't. No
I
hustle
love
culture,
it.
none of that. Like,
Mm,
I just feel into what my life should look like in that moment. I have gotten very present and very mindful. I stay out of my
mm,
brain unless there's an actual need for it. I'm living in each moment the best I can. And yeah, when like these conversations are everything to me. So doing my podcast, that's been like the
mhm.
biggest gift for myself because I love talking and so many things have been processed in real time. And then for the first time, like I've had so many aha moments just talking to somebody on my show.
Yeah,
But connection is everything to me. And I feel
true.
deeply connected when we have these conversations.
Me too.
So yeah. And also my conversations with clients don't really look a lot different than this either. Like I'm very just like we
I
don't.
really like it. I really like your energy. I feel like it's genuine you. I feel like I mean, we just know each other just like last week, but I really feel that you are very real. Like, this is me. For example, I don't want to do that. I'm too tired. I'm not going to do it. And you're not pushing yourself too hard to do something that's not really that important. Like, that's not the end of the world. So I can have a nap. So I can go to sleep early.
Right.
And
But see,
yeah,
before, I would have shamed myself for not,
me
accomplishing everything on my to-do list. I wasn't productive, but now I'm like, rest is productive. It sure is.
Because
So, yeah.
before I was like, okay, if I'm not exercising today, then I'm not productive. Then I'm doing bad things. So I kind of like punish myself for not doing some certain things. And it's hard. I feel like so and the more I do it, the more I stop exercising because I start to feel like, oh, everything is just like
The
dilemma, like
resistance.
going
Yes.
and then yeah, and then the shame of me, look, you're not going exercise. You did a bad thing today. And I was like, why am I being hard on myself? So the way you
Yeah, because
say it,
then
like
you won't do anything else either. Because
it,
you don't wanna exercise, and so you don't wanna do anything else because all you can think about is how bad you don't wanna exercise. I can't tell you how many days I've done this, and then I just quit being like, "Oh, I have to attack." You know how all the, like, gurus are like, "Eat the
Mhm.
big frog," or "Move the big rock first," or whatever. No, no. If that feels good for you and you can do that easily, great, but otherwise, for me, when I've got that big rock just weighing me down like the boulder that it is, and I think I have to get that done first, I will lay in bed all day thinking about how badly I don't wanna do that. So
Mm,
then when I'm upset at myself for that, I just shift it and I go, um, if you wanna do better, and by better, I mean, go do something that makes you happy to get the energy for this, then that way
yeah.
you've at least done something other than sit around dreading this one
Yeah.
activity all day.
I just said that in a mini podcast I did with a friend, and they asked me what makes you feel like you again or stronger, and I said, do the things that light you up. It could be anything. Anyone has different
Literally.
activity, right? Anyone has their own thing, but do the things that light you up, that make you feel like smile while you're doing it, that make you the time kind of like stop when you're doing something that you
Yes, that
like
you're
because it
in
lights
time
you up.
blindness. Yes.
Because
Yep.
sometimes that's when you know you really like something, when you're doing something. And oh my God, it's been 3 hours already, but you're doing it with joy. You're doing it with passion. I
Yes.
love it. So,
And then you go, "Oh my
uh,
gosh, look what I did today."
yeah. And look, that lights you up. So,
Yes.
do more things that lights you up. Why would you do things that you don't like to do? right? Like it's
Yeah, and
spreading.
because like somebody told us we should, you know? It's kind of like, I used to follow a bunch of fitness people on Instagram and that bullshit of never miss a
Tell me
Monday.
about it.
Something about that never felt intuitively right for me, and so I used to be a 4 a.m. gym rat and would put that in conversation as much as possible, but I got up
Mhm.
every morning at 4 and I went to the gym and I was a runner and blah, 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 because I hated myself, so I was trying to figure that out, but, I was like, I don't want to go to the gym on Monday because it doesn't set the tone for my week right. Like my body's a little bit down on Monday morning from my sleep schedule being off. My food would be different,
Mhm.
all the things.
Mhm.
Like I'm a little run down. I can feel the inflammation. I can feel whatever. I don't think going to the gym right now is what I need. I think if I want to exercise today, a short walk is what my body needs. But
Yeah.
like, what, I'm gonna wake up at 4 when I'm already tired and, like,
Why would
sleep
you do
lose
that?
all. Yeah,
Why would you
what
do that?
and people are encouraging you to do that, and I'm telling you, don't. And then when I started, I looked into, like, each day of the week being ruled by a different planet in astrology. So, like, Monday's ruled by the moon, which is about your
Mm.
emotions. So you're supposed to tend to your emotions on Monday anyway. It's not meant to be a hustle day. It's meant to Tuesday to be your most productive day. Tuesday and Saturday, because Saturday's ruled by Saturn. But Sunday's ruled by the sun. So go be free and fun. That's why it's Sunday fun day. Like
Mhm.
learning that really helped too.
That's why it's
But when I
Sunday.
heard that, I was like, I knew you weren't supposed to never miss a Monday.
I knew it. But yeah, Monday's my day off, so yeah, I'm doing it right.
Yes,
Good.
exactly.
Let's talk about self-love a little bit because I love this topic and I know you love it too.
Yeah.
How important, because a lot of women that I talk with, they tend to not doing things for themselves. So how important self-love for your healing journey? How important for you to really get your inner voice, listening to your voice again in your healing journey?
I mean, that was everything. But I don't wanna say that in a way because I remember listening to people be like, "You can't hate yourself better," and I was like, "Then what's the point in trying?" Because I didn't understand what they were saying. But
Mm.
you can try, and you should try. You should try every day, whatever you're feeling like will work for you. But
Is
so
affirmation, does affirmation help? Like saying, because I heard a lot of friends saying to me, "Oh, but I'm ugly. I'm not that pretty. I'm not that." The Do you believe in that? The more you say bad things about you, the more
yes.
you kind of like. Do you believe in that?
Absolutely, because it wouldn't have been said if it wasn't programmed in your subconscious somewhere. And now what
Mm.
you're doing is reconfirming to your subconscious these lies about you. And your subconscious does not know the difference between real and imaginary. So every time you confirm those things, that's when you're in autopilot, the very first thing that's going to come up is I'm ugly or whatever. Like I'm really careful about how I talk. And in fact, one of the things that really helped me on the self-love journey is revising in the moment. So like I did used to make a lot of really self-deprecating jokes, and now if I
Yes.
slip and accidentally say something like that, I'm like, "Actually, I didn't mean
Delete.
that." So
Delete that.
I never felt attractive a day in my life. Like, I used to think I was so ugly and blah, 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 blah. And then whenever I just started saying it to myself and getting into the energy of what I felt was attractive and, whatever, that it's all an energy. And so, like, if I'm having
True.
one of those down days, I'm like, "Psh, I'm hot. Like, I'll
Yes.
get into whatever energy I want, or
Yes.
I like to do a lot of like, I magnetize people. I like that feeling. I like that feeling of energy whenever
I love it
that's where I
too.
get in.
I'm doing that too right now. So, and it helps with confidence as well. The more
Oh,
you say
yes.
that those things to you, the positive things in front of the mirror or whatever, it just helps with my confidence. It's just, and people ask how do you boost your confidence? Like talk to yourself, getting
Yeah,
to
quit
know
talking shit to
yourself.
yourself. Say good
Stop
things to
talking
yourself,
shit.
man, and visualize. Because that's what I do. Like, I have a few different things. Like, because someone taught me, like, how do you want to feel? Like, you gotta ask
Mm.
yourself that. Like, how do I want to feel when this experience is over? Get into that energy before you even have the experience. Like, how do I want to feel? I want to feel empowered. I want to feel bold. I want to feel,
Great.
magnetized. I want to feel blah, blah, blah. And then I get into that energy by visualizing it. And then guess what? You get to feel that no matter what happens.
I need to do that more. And thank you for reminding me for that. I need to do that more. I need
It
to
works.
visualize the whole
Mm-hmm.
thing that I want. Oh my God, that's
Yeah, because
amazing.
like, I
That's
have a
really good
happy
tip.
place even if I'm just in a rut or whatever, and I'm like, "Oh, I need to feel better. I don't know what's going on." I picture
Mhm,
myself, like, on a beach at sunset, but, like, the sun's just starting to set, and
mhm.
I'm, like, basking in the glory of the sun. I can't help but smile. Some NLP practitioners have their, clients, like, visualize them
Mhm.
looking in the mirror and smiling. It's an automatic smile reflex.
Automatically.
And it changes your energy because that's all we are is energy, and everything you're experiencing is part of your energies.
Well, I love this conversation. It's very uplifting, empowering, and you giving us a lot of tips that I need to do more. It's just like I think visualization is really good, and I need to do that more. What? I
Yeah,
have a
I
question.
forget too. Sometimes I forget.
Yeah, sometimes because when you say your visualization was at the beach, mine too. The same thing. I was
It's
at
a
the beach.
very happy.
I know exactly there is a cliff in there. There is a bit of green at the back, and it's just beautiful. And I was like,
Yes.
I need to do that more when I
Mhm.
feel, shit or something. I need to go to
Mhm.
that place, and it makes me smile. Like you said, it really when you visualize this kind of thing, it makes you feel better. It makes
Mhm.
me smile. Okay, I'm in there, I'm basking in the sun, and it's just happy place. Happy
Yes, you
place,
feel free
everyone.
and
You have your own happy place visualization. That's really great. I have another
yeah.
question though.
Mhm.
What's one truth that you now live by that the younger version of you never believed?
Ooh, the
Oh.
only thing that's really coming up for me is like that I am worthy and valuable because I really felt on so many levels, like I was just constantly trying to earn it, and that I am loved because I really believed nobody loved me like I loved them, and that I was on the periphery of all my relationships, and
Mhm.
really I was just asking everyone around me to fill all those holes from childhood, and I
Mhm.
learned how to fill them myself. So I would say too, I really thought that I wasn't enough. And I think that's why I leaned so heavily on everyone else because I thought that I needed to source that out and have help with it. But like, I'm more than enough. And I prove that to myself
Wow.
every day?
That's something, Melissa. I really love that. And I think in a way that I feel the same. I think that's some truth that I now live by that I didn't have before when I was young. Like I was never enough because I have to be this, I have to be that, that I'm not
Mhm.
worthy. I have to be this to be worthy. It's all conditional to get love, like
Exactly.
if
Exactly.
if you do this, then I love you. If you don't, then I don't think so. So,
Exactly.
oh my God, we all live the same life. But
No,
that
and
touched
it's
me what
so
you said.
true. It's so true. That's the thing I've started to realize. We all say this. We all feel too much and not enough. We all feel fundamentally unlovable. We all feel like we have the weight of the world on our shoulders and no one else to carry it. We all feel like we're supposed to be superhuman and not ever have to ask for help. Every one of us. And if you haven't identified those narratives in you yet, that's fine, but they're there.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's just that is amazing. I love that. I'm glad that I asked that question because I resonate with what you said as well. And I think a lot of women will.
So now that I love myself so deeply, I love
It's
others
all
so
different.
deeply. Like
It's
I
different.
share love with people now and I don't like spend all this time sitting around thinking about what people are doing or why they're doing it. I don't give a shit. I focus on me. And I spent a lot of time before focused on everybody other than me.
I'm loving this session. I really love it. The word that you just said, I've been thinking about that because I spent my 20s hating myself. Everything, it's not perfect. It's not this, it's not that. I was
Uh-huh.
like, fuck it at the end. Like, now I love myself. Whatever you guys think, I do not care because
Mhm.
I focus on me. I want to focus on
Yeah.
me. I don't care about what you do, but what you say, what you think about me. I did when I was in my 20s. Yes, I did. But no, not anymore because it's painful. Before we wrap up, yeah, I always ask this question to my guest, and I love this part. So, as I know, you have turned your pain into purpose, like you right now, through your
Mhm.
podcast, through your practice, through your books, your voice, and look at you. I love your energy. What final message would you love to give to women who are still in pain and finding their way back to themselves? If you can have a moment, a minute to speak with them, what would you say?
Honestly, I would say that I remember how hard it felt and like it was almost a mountain you'd never be able to climb because it felt
Mm,
that like steep and just
mm,
rough and hard, just so hard. But it really isn't. With the right tools, a few shifts, and your whole world is. So, the framework that I work within is quiet the noise. So, all we have to do is figure out which narratives are playing in your brain, identify them, and shut them the hell up. Connect to self. Get home to your body, start doing somatic practices, start understanding what these sensations feel like, understand your wounding, get the Finding Peace workbook. It helps. Connect to yourself, cultivate self love and compassion, accept that you are who you are. And people think that that's like a lack of accountability to be like,
mm,
well,
mm,
it is what it is.
mm.
Resistance keeps us stuck. So the more you think I should or shouldn't, the longer you're just going to stay there. Try leaning into exactly who the hell you are for about 5 minutes and see the difference because you don't even want to stay stuck anymore at that point. And then embody the light. Be you. Go be your most authentic self. Your
Oh,
people
yes.
are looking for you and they can't find you when you're masking. Go find them. And you need your people, but like all everyone's hiding. Go be your authentic self cuz whether the people in your current reality like it or not, they may not be meant for you. Go be you. Go be with the people, places, and things that you're actually meant for because life gets so much better when you're living it on your own terms.
I get so excited. Thank you so much for that. It's just like the message that we all need to hear every single day. Everyone, go to Emotionally Unavailable podcast. I will be listening because I need you. I need someone to remind me this kind of message. You don't know how maybe you're used to it, but for me that just listen to your message, connect to your body, quiet the noise, whatever is that, and leaning into yourself. Be you, be you, be you. It's just message that we need to hear more. When we were
Mhm.
young as well, we didn't I didn't I don't know everyone, but I'm pretty sure that not many
Everybody
women.
was made to disconnect from themselves. Yes.
So, gosh, oh my god, that was very powerful, Melissa, and I really appreciate that. This is what I want. Oh my god,
Yeah.
Emotionally Unavailable podcast, everyone. I'm gonna tune into that. Thank you so much for today.
Thank
Like, I
you for
really thank
having
you.
me.
It's I'm loving this session. I know that I will learn a lot from you, and that's what I put to myself last night. I was like, I know I'm gonna learn a lot from Melissa today. And look,
Aww.
no, it's true. It's
I
just
love it.
true. And so thank you so much for your time. I'm so glad that
Absolutely.
we did this.
Me too. I had a really good time. Thank you so much for having me.